Today, a story about a Milwaukee police detective and his partner who were brutally attacked on Thanksgiving night in 1957. This book is about Ken Stanelle, was written by his wife Shirley, and it's called Pick Up the Clay. It tells about how Ken saved his partner's life, his long road to recovery, and how he rebuilt his life through pottery and art. I'm here with Shirley and her daughter Peggy, and we're so happy to have you both here on The Morning Blend. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
This is great. So this is a story, a Milwaukee police detective who was your husband. I think what's interesting is a lot of people don't know this story. So let's tell me a little bit about who your husband was as a Milwaukee police detective and what happened to him that Thanksgiving night.
He loved being a policeman, that much I can tell you. And he was also loved by all the men and loved by all the women. Everybody loved him. So he was a genuinely good guy. And they were coming home to have a break. They could all have a break. They're coming home to have some strawberry and biscuits left over from Thanksgiving. And on the way through the hole, which was a bad part of the city, they went through there to see if the taverns weren't supposed to be open, and they saw two men dragging another man down the steps, so they had to stop.
Yeah.
And so they stopped, and they said, Ken says, well, what's going on here? And they started in a fight, and it ended up with Ken shooting one in the knee, and the other one he killed. That hurt him more than anything.
I think that would be a really awful part of being a service member, is a situation like that nobody hopes to encounter.
Right.
His recovery, as well as his partner's, was really difficult. Right. What exactly happened in the weeks and months to come, because they weren't able to be home for Christmas, right?
No, and the Misericordia Hospital was Catholic hospital, and the nuns decided to let us have part of the lobby. And this great big tree, somewhat like the Pfister Hotel, big beautiful tree, and they let us have the lobby, and all two gentlemen and all the wives and children, we all were in there. There were like 60 presents brought in from people all over. The city was astounded.
Yeah.
And so they were really just wanted to show their love to them. And so we had the dinner, the Christmas there. And what was the other question?
Just in general, the long recovery that they had, right?
Well, in the hospital, my husband was like wrapped up like a mummy, and his mouth was wired, but his partner could talk, but he couldn't walk because he had almost killed because an artery had been severed. And so as they got better and the wire, and my husband couldn't talk yet, he still was wired, then he would push Bill in the wheelchair, and Bill would talk and Ken would push.
So they remained partners in many ways, even in their recovery.
And they went to see people along the way in the hospital.
What does Pick Up the Clay mean? That's one thing he said to you, and the basis of the book.
Well, Ken gave different talks that with his wheel, because he learned to be a potter after that was part of his recuperation with the clay. And so when he would he would throw on the wheel and tell a story at the same time. He was one of those kind of people that could do that. I wish I would, but he could do that. And so he would always, be throwing on the wheel, and then he would have this pot that was forming, and he would throw it, make it fall on purpose. He would do it, and everybody would go, oh, you know. And he'd say, now you can just let it sit like this, dry and be ugly, or you can do what the potter does. He picks up the clay and slams it down again, and he said, and then it starts his life over again.
Yeah, so it's that resilience. Who should read the book? Who do you want to pick up the book and know this story about our Milwaukee history and one of our own detectives?
It's a great story, even for families, young people. It tells a story of hope and motivation, inspiration, as well as it's just got some great stories in there, some great anecdotes about life as a Milwaukee police officer and young family making it, trying to make it a start, you know, and realizing that you can have a passion and a hope for something, and if your life changes, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can just start over again, and it gives you, you know, it makes you feel okay about sometimes things that don't go your way in life.
I think it's a great story that people can learn more about our history here, as well as your dad, your husband. They can get a copy of the book Pick Up the Clay at pickuptheclay.com. It includes free shipping as well, and you can buy online there to learn a little bit more about this wonderful story. Thanks for being here, you both.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate it.
Right there.
There it is.